they came back to Oman and was like, the Chinese officials are going to get this. We need to make it a bit more translucent, a bit more realistic, a bit less abstract, and they came up with the Plexi model. But let's see, what else we do? So yeah, those are kind of like the basic philosophies and ideas and examples of what you can do with it. I personally try to use a wide range of techniques and ideas, but let's see, like for this one right here is a project I did last semester. I basically did my site model out of Plexi and I stacked it. I wouldn't recommend doing it, but it gave it like a pretty interesting effect. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of material. But stacking is one way you can do it, which is basically, I think it's really simple and it's really easy. And if you're careful, you can get pretty clean edges. And, pretty, I mean, it's sturdy and solid. Here's another model I did for sophomore year. Basically, it's like this one where it's a bunch of plates. But the way I did it is you aligned it by cutting holes where these I guess columns would be, and so that not only was able to allow me to represent the columns in the model, but also allowed me to stack it very cleanly. And if you cut the holes precisely, you'll be able to fit them in, and it'll just fit in, and it won't move, and it won't shake. And so I think what's interesting about Plexi is because it's so sturdy, it's like you can be very structural with it. Like you can be in a way that paper or other materials wouldn't allow you to do, because it's like you're working with a concrete or with metal or something like that. And so that's something that you sort of have to incorporate into the design of the model. Is you can take advantage of that. The bad side to that is that because it's so hard, it's hard to, once you've cut it, you can't really go back and change it. But if you are conscious of it and you plan ahead, you can create pretty exact fits and make some pretty sturdy things. And then this is the same project, just a bigger scale. And this is what this is, a piece of that. And this was like a huge experiment in making a huge thing out of Plexi, which I think it took a lot of engineering because it's basically hollow on the inside. So I had never done anything with these kind of edges before, and I guess I was gonna show you guys how I did it in the end. But I think this also took like several days to plan out exactly how I was doing it and to draw out the model, the files in CAD. And basically what it is that it's a pentagonal kind of buckyball system on the inside. So I had this like Epcot Center frame with holes in it in the center, and then I built in these pegs to sort of all plug in at the same time. And at certain points it was pretty wobbly, but then when you got it all together, it was quite sturdy. And so here's if you look here, here's basically what this is on the interior, and then these things will plug in. I built each of these separately, and then pushed them together.
You're allowed to like take it out to look inside the model.
Yeah, well, the top one I made it removable, but the other ones were pretty stuck on.
So these pegs that you added go in those?
They go in on those little slots. So that's kind of like one technique and something that you can plan, basically. Like I said, it took a lot of engineering to do it, and basically you just cut a hole and you created these other pieces and start to fit it together. So you're making your own Lego set, sort of, if you think of it that way, your own construction set. And then in the end, you can have this nice, well-lit model. I mean, it doesn't always have to be lit, but it's nice because it stands out in contrast to the other. If you have a different set or whatnot, you can really make it pop and it looks good in your images and stuff. So that's it. But yeah, I guess I'll go through basically how I think about when I design these things. Is I have my architectural idea, and then translating it into like translating it into a model is like whenever you're making a model, you have to think about exactly what you're going to represent, what you're going to show, what you're trying to portray. And so, but it takes a lot of time really to make the laser files. It's not something that you do like in an hour before your laser time. You really have to think about it because, especially when you're going all Plexi, if you mess up, if it doesn't work, you're screwed, basically. And, you want it to stand up. The other thing that you have to know about Plexi is like for this one of the problems was making it stand up because in the end there was so much Plexi, like several sheets of that, and that gets really heavy. So it's not like foam or paper in the sense that you don't really have to account for gravity, because you do, or else it's going to fall over. But yeah, so I guess you should think about how you're connecting pieces. It's not always going to be through glue. Like usually, if you're doing something that's just layers, it's pretty simple, and you can just use glue and use gravity to connect it. But like for this one, where you have cantilevers and different forces acting on it, you really have to think about other solutions. I like pegs personally. I like making holes and making with it. The only issue is sometimes your laser file is messed up and don't focus it correctly, and the hole is too small, and then you're screwed. But that means you just have to do tests, and you have to make it. You have to work with it basically, and keep on trying. Yeah. So like when I design it, you make your file, and you want to have it really organized. You want to have all your pieces. You can label it, and you can etch it. So you can have like a piece and write a little a there, and you can etch it out. And then by the end, you'll have like everything cataloged, because you need to keep it really organized, because some of these materials are really hard to see. That's one of the problems. And when you're tired and you're on charrette, you don't want to be like running around trying to find that one little piece. So basically, that means being organized and making extras. So like for these guys, I made like several more than I have to, just because I don't want to have to. If you lose that one piece and you can't make your model, it's pretty lame.
Did you offset this more than the actual width? Like when you're
I didn't mean to, but what I was doing there is I didn't want it to be too small.
Right.
Because you can fit it, you can glue it on one side and it'll still work. But if it's too small, then it's not gonna
Yeah, because I was wondering if like the glue, like you needed that room for the glue.
No, because I mean the glue is liquid, so
Yeah. Okay.
so that's another thing. You have to account for these little differences. The lasers we have they're kind of weird. Like sometimes I think one of the beds is I think the blue laser, the bed in the top left is lower than in other parts. So so sometimes it cuts at a different, because it focuses at a different point basically. And when you're getting to this level of detail, you can't always count that it's going to be exact because of the imperfections of it. Yeah. I don't know if they fixed